Are y'all ready to get started? Yeah? You don't have to log into anything right now. I know it's tempting with the computer in front of us to check our email, our calendars, you know, but just sign in and then maybe close it. I'm always tempted when I have a laptop in front of me. But yeah, so my name is Jodie Waldroup, and I'm a career counselor here. I think I know everybody. I've seen y'all's faces. Yeah, I know everybody. So Kanban Flow. I'm really excited that y'all are here because I do think this tool is very helpful for me as well as some of my coworkers who have already started using it. So I'm going to just basically give y'all an overview of how I use it and show you a little bit of the science behind it. So the agenda is why I started using Kanban Flow, both personal and professional reasons, the science of productivity and Kanban methodology, and then examples of Kanban boards by SEC coworkers who are already using it that I've talked to throughout the past year, and then Kanban 101 and getting started. So I'm going to show you the ins and outs of creating a board, some of the settings you can play with, and then you're going to have time to do it. So I hope you brought your to-do list, because you already have this time blocked out on your calendar. There's no reason to leave early. You can actually utilize the time you have left to start using this tool now. So any questions? Who's excited? Yeah? Awesome. So I just want to fill y'all out. Why did y'all come today? What are some of the things you're hoping to take away specifically from this tool or learning more about it?
No more sticky notes.
No more sticky notes. Yes. I love my Post-it notes, so they can get overwhelming or not productive when you have just stacks of them all over. What else?
This person, and now I'm going to have to manage more than just myself and my projects, but making sure that those other things are getting done as well.
Right, so the multiple lists, and how do I stay organized with my hands in multiple spots and fires almost? How do I manage all the fires going on? Yeah, yeah. What else? How about one more volunteer?
I have to get a lot of things from different people, and so I'd like a way to have it all coordinated more smoothly and meeting deadlines.
Yeah, so meeting deadlines or managing your workflow and all the things you need from other people or following up with people. Hey, can you get this to me? So nothing slips through the cracks. Yeah, exactly. So I did want to give y'all an inside look of my brain because I think it's important to kind of understand why I personally used it. But growing up, I had ADHD. I took Ritalin for a big chunk of life when I was in elementary school, but I had a lot of the side effects, so I had to learn very early on, how do I manage it? So my mom, she always made me checklists and condensed my time. I started using a planner in like 2nd grade because I needed to because I would have been all over the place. So I do have those tendencies even now as an adult, but I just use them to my advantage, and I'm like, oh, I can start things here and there. But they're not always productive when I'm like that. So I do need that structure and that checklist or the time dedicated to certain tasks. My Myers-Briggs type is an INFJT. So I really wanted to focus on the J and the T part. So I'm very structured and organized. I need that structure and organization because of my past and the way my brain operates. But I like to know what I need to do on a daily basis, and I like to have that structure and organization. But I'm also turbulent, so when I'm stressed, I'm really stressed. I take it very internally. Turbulent people with that trait kind of have perfectionist tendencies. So with the job fairs, like I want to make sure everything runs smoothly, there's no missing tables, there's no missing packets, I have everybody's nameplate, like, yeah, I'll just go crazy if I don't have some structure and organization. So very much an internal stressor. That's how I take it in. And then conventional, so my Holland code is social, enterprise, and conventional. They're very methodological, practical, structural, organized. They like clerical tasks almost. Like when I was a student assistant and I got to file and fax and make copies, I was so happy because it was just like clerical things, but it was organizational things, and I enjoy doing that. So that's a little bit about an inside look of my brain and how I operate. Any questions so far? All right, so why and how did I get started? It was the summer of 2017, so a little over a year ago, and I was in my first 6 months here. But a lot was going on in summer of 2017, career services. Anybody have an idea of what went on in career services in the summer? Peak was launching. That was a big one. But we also transitioned our job board and our interview software, lots of other things. So these are just some of the things that were on my plate. Still in the first 6 months of a new job. That's always really hard when you're transitioning. Career services wasn't my background, so I just have to learn what is career services all about, what's some career counseling techniques, still transitioning. I did an 8-week job board migration, which took a solid 8 weeks. I don't speak IT, so I was like banging my head against a wall, trying to understand IT language those 8 weeks. But every week I had checklists that I had to get back to the grad leaders committee. And then website redesign project, we revamped our website. It was a very long website, if anybody remembers, and it's like condensed down throughout the year. And then I was supervising a HESA intern from the Western Higher Education Student Affairs Program. First time I did a professional supervision role. That was really intimidating. I had to be organized, had to give her projects, do evaluations, all that good stuff. Our new interview software, and then getting ready to launch Peak, and summer scheduling and events and marketing, and the list goes on and on. So I was a little overwhelmed feeling with my brain doing this. Anybody else feel that way, where their brain's pulled in many directions? Yeah. So I did a reflection. I was like, okay, what do I need? What is going to help me deal with all of this? And I was like, I need structure again. And I used the bullet journal method. Has anybody heard of bullet journal? Okay, a few of you. So the idea is to keep everything in a journal. All your sticky notes, your calendar, your projects, everything is in that journal. And it works in some ways for me, but it didn't work in all the ways. I didn't like the fact I had to draw out the step-by-step process. It just was too time-consuming for me. So I thought, well, what can I use that's technological, that's easy input? And then I flashed back to my time at South Carolina, because my first year, my grad assistantship with Jenny Bloom, she wanted to use Kanban Flow, but me and the other grad assistant, we didn't really like using it as much. We didn't feel the need. We didn't feel like we had enough pulling in different directions to utilize a software like this. So we just did weekly reports. But I just flashed back to, oh, maybe I should just check out Kanban Flow again. And I just started diving in and creating my board. So that's a little bit professionally as to why I started using it. So this is my brain beforehand. Yes, anybody identify with that? So where do I start? I think that's the hardest part of any project, is where do I start? Half the battle is getting started. Like with working out, half the battle is just changing into your workout clothes, and then you're good, you're golden. So that was my brain. And this is what I hope my brain is most days, but I would say it's very much, I know what I need to do, I know my priorities. It kind of helps me have a little calmness to the madness. That is my brain sometimes. And I think everybody, all of y'all feel that. We all have a ton on our plates, a ton of things to do. So, you know, helping us get from here to here. Yoga on the stage today at 12. Check it out, get your Zen on. You know, we're doing Kanban now, but do yoga later. So I love this quote, focus on being productive instead of busy, because I feel like in today's times, a lot of us say, oh, I'm busy, I'm busy, I'm busy. We're all busy, but how can we be productive? So I found this video about the science of productivity that I think is really enjoyable and fun to watch. It's around 3 minutes long, but it talks a little bit about things that are incorporated into the Kanban technology. So, you know, because we have to have ads with everything now. And it's a video game they're advertising. Lovely.
In a world that seems busier by the day, productivity is on the minds of many. But instead of downloading the latest time management app or forcing yourself to stay at work for hours on end, how can you use science to crack open the potential of our mind? Is there a secret to being productive? The first thing to come to terms with is that your willpower is simply not enough. In fact, some studies suggest that willpower is an inexhaustible source that can be entirely used up. This is a concept known as ego depletion. So instead of convincing yourself to simply try harder, a more methodical approach is suggested. The first step, get started. It may seem obvious, but studies have shown starting a project to be the biggest barrier to productivity. Before starting, our brain visualizes the hardest parts to come and instead tries to simulate real work by focusing on small, mindless tasks. Luckily, there's a construct of the mind known as the Zeigarnik effect, which compels humans to finish a task that they've already started. The Zeigarnik effect shows that when we don't finish a task, we experience discomfort and intrusive thoughts about it. So get started now. What about time management? Shockingly, when we look at some of the most elite musicians in the world, we find that they aren't necessarily practicing more, but instead more deliberately. This is because they spend more time focused on the hardest tasks and focus their energy entirely. Instead of diluting their effort over the entire day, they have periods of intense work followed by breaks. Not relying on willpower, they rely on habit and disciplined scheduling. Studies have found that the most elite violinists in the world generally follow a 90-minute work regime with a 15 to 20-minute break afterwards. Instead of trying to maintain energy throughout the entire day, breaking it down into sessions with planned relaxation is most effective. But how can you develop the discipline to follow this routine? One key component is giving yourself a deadline. Write it down, mark it in your calendar, and you'll be much more likely to complete your task. On top of this, create something called an accountability chart to document your progress. In one column, write the time span, and in the other, the activities you accomplished during this time. Similar to those on a diet who document their food intake, writing down your progress allows you to realistically evaluate your work as opposed to inaccurately assuming what you've done. Furthermore, tracking your progress helps to avoid small, mindless work. And finally, stop multitasking. While it may feel like you're accomplishing more, studies show that multitaskers are much less productive. Instead, try and make a list at night of what you want to accomplish tomorrow. This way, you hit the ground running with your action plan and avoid trying to complete multiple activities at once. While you're at it, split up your large tasks into smaller bite-sized ones. Your brain will find these less daunting and it will make the starting process easier. With a clear goal and action plan in mind, your productivity levels can soar to new heights. Want more tips and information on productivity? Check out Gregory Scott's blog, Sparring Mind, who we worked with today.
So what are some things that stood out to y'all about that video and what they were talking about? Some of the tips.
I think it's the fact that we're taught to multitask
Yeah.
because of that. That seems like it's one of those things my mind wants to fight against.
So we're in a world where multitasking is going on. Our email's going off, our phone's going off, people are coming into our offices. So we kind of live in a multitasking world, but our brains kind of want to just focus. Is that what you're saying, Wendy?
Actually, my mind wants to multitask.
Okay.
And the streamline process is harder.
Yeah, so I mean, I'm a millennial, so I was raised in a multitasking generation. Even when I'm cleaning, I will go to a room for like 20 minutes and I'll get bored and want to go to a different room. And I'll get bored and go to a different room and my house is a mess, more of a mess than when I started because I'm multitasking. But I think you can use multitasking to your advantage in a sense if you can handle being pulled multiple directions, but maybe having a little structure to help you accomplish those things through deadlines or through an accountability chart might help you with getting things done. So, what are some other thoughts on the video? Ben.
I think it's definitely true about when you have a big task, it's easier to focus on those little pieces first. Like multiple tasks, one's big and a bunch of them are little. I'll sometimes try to just knock out the little ones first because they can be quicker and it feels like I'm getting more done. But at the same time, I haven't even started the big one at that point.
Yeah, so breaking it down and kind of getting that sense of like, yes, it's done, like the little pieces helps you work up to the big project overall. Kind of reminds me of the debt snowball method in the sense of breaking down small chunks of debt and working towards your bigger debt. But yeah, so, divide things up into smaller pieces, or, you have your big project, doing bite-sized pieces. It's like the job fairs are huge, so I have like a preliminary planning, 2 weeks out, 1 week out, and then post-job fair cleanup, because that helps me bite off little chunks to a big event. Or the peak uploads, when I see 300 documents, it's a little overwhelming. I'm like, I'm just gonna, procrastinate, because that's a very big, intimidating thing to do. But doing it by instructor, like I'm gonna accomplish this instructor today, or I'm gonna work on peak documents for 30 minutes. That helps me work towards it, but I'm getting that sense of accountability through my Kanban, or sense of like pride and like happiness that, oh, I have a check mark. So that makes me feel good. So yeah, any other thoughts before we move on?
Deadlines.
Yes.
Not so much at work, but outside of work, things just can go on forever.
Yeah.
Oh, I could add this to the holiday meal, or but having a deadline would be definitely beneficial, because then I can work on something new.
Yeah, exactly. So setting deadlines, both in professional and personal life, is helpful. I need to apply more of it to the personal part, and Katie could attest to my foreverly long to-do list outside of work that I'm always adding things to. But setting goals for like a month, like I set like this month I'm going to work on this goal or this project, or setting those deadlines. So I do think that deadlines can help. So
Just say one thing.
yeah, Peter.
The 90-minute time frame, especially with musicians, that's a natural brain rhythm, social trading rhythm. And as far as at least people in our society is concerned, there's a time of left brain dominance that fades and shifts to right brain dominance about every hour and a half. And typically what we do in office situations, places where we have to be productive, is we shove in stimulants every hour and a half. So let's pretend that such a thing as a 9 to 5 day existed, which it doesn't. But what we shoved in at 10:30 was a coffee break. And it is a natural thing to take a break at that time. Attention tends to get soft. There's a desire to do something, usually to do something moving the body, perhaps listening to music, what have you. But just to say that's a very natural brain rhythm, and to honor it with something that allows the brain to rest a little, rather than trying to push it forward, tends to reboot it in a more helpful way. Just a 2 cents worth of that.
Yeah, that's very fascinating, because thinking of myself, like if I'm really knee deep into a project, Cheryl picks on me, but normally have both headphones in. I can really work on it for around 90 minutes and then hit my max of I just cannot look at my computer anymore. So that makes complete sense to me. So, but yeah, like honoring an actual break instead of pushing forward and exhausting ourselves and causing ourselves to really fatigue out.
And it doesn't take much. That's what they said. That's 5 minutes until the break. 2 cents.
Yep.
I have to take another hour and a half.
Right. Yeah, just 5 minutes of walk around, or go get some water or do some stretching. Yeah, absolutely. So this is a quote about what Kanban is in a nutshell. So Kanban is a method for managing the creation of products. I did the parenthesis projects, since a lot of us work on projects, with an emphasis on continual delivery while not overburdening the development team or individual. Kanban is a process designed to help teams work together more effectively. So it was more pioneered in manufacturing, the Kanban methodology. So Toyota really started using it in their production to keep up with production demands. And it helped them complete things quicker, more timely, things like that. So it is is really truly developed for teams, but it also is very helpful for an individual. So I have this video that explains Kanban, of the history of it, what it actually means, and then the 3 basic principles, which you will see on the following slide.
What is Kanban? Kanban is a visual management method for any work that follows a process. It helps you improve flow, reduce lead time, and deliver value faster to customers, improving predictability and quality. Kanban is a Japanese term, which literally means signboard or billboard. The Kanban method by David Anderson adapted Kanban for knowledge work such as software development, IT management, as well as business processes such as procurement, legal, HR, marketing, and many others. Kanban helps you harness the power of visual information by using sticky notes on a whiteboard to create a picture of your work using 3 basic columns: to do, doing, and done. Of course, you could model your exact process that you currently follow. The Kanban method is an evolutionary method that promotes gradual, non-disruptive improvement to an organization's processes. 3 core practices of the Kanban method are: 1. Visualize your workflow. 2. Limit work in progress. 3. Manage flow. The main objective of a Kanban system is the smooth flow of work from start to completion, with no unnecessary slowdown or stoppage. By reducing the work in progress, Kanban helps reduce multitasking and encourages completing the work in hand before taking up anything new. This helps improve overall system flow. It helps reduce delays, reduces time to market, deliver work early and often, helping your organization become lean and agile.
So, does anybody remember the 3 basic principles?
Visualize your workflow.
Yes, visualize your workflow. So those sticky notes can be to your advantage if you put them in columns maybe, because I still love my sticky notes. Anybody remember the 2nd basic principle?
Minimize work in progress.
Minimize work in progress. So does anybody have I have 10 priorities today or 20 priorities. So how can we limit that to high and low priorities maybe? So limit work in progress. And the 3rd one? Manage your flow. So manage by accomplishing the high priority, moving them to done, and then bring the low priority to the high priority category. So it's really just managing that flow of work that you have on your plate. So I have introduced Kanban, because I say Kanban, not Kanban. I say Kanban, even though I know it's a K, not a C. I've introduced it to a few of my coworkers throughout the past year. Started with Megan Jameson in the PR department. Now the whole team uses it. But I wanted them to show screenshots of their Kanban so you can see it can be as simple or as complex as you want to make it. It's very much customized to you, your purpose, your workload, your role. So this is April Copeland's. So she just started using it recently, so she still has the very basic to do today, in progress, and then her done column. Isn't in the screenshot, but it would be on beside the in progress. And she has it very simple, same color. She's utilizing like check boxes in the description features, so the description, the subtask, which I will show y'all. But this is what she said about it. With Kanban, I enjoy the benefit of having everything that I need to plan and do in one place, because I'm often at different locations, visiting the other SCC campus and area high schools. This helps me to make sure that all of my priorities and tasks are taken care of. It also allows for me to be proactive in planning on things that I know would need to be accomplished at certain times. So a lot of us do go to other places, whether it's the Macon campus, or we're going to high schools, or we're just kind of all over the place. We're in meetings all day. How do I keep track of all the things I gotta do once I get back to my office? So you're able to add them really quick into your Kanban and just kind of put it in there like you would an email or a calendar feature, because it's pulled up on your web browser. You also can have a shortcut on your phone. So this is Megan Jameson's. So she has a little bit different columns. She has her to do, her urgent projects, her print, her proof sent. I had a hard time seeing that. She does have a column for WCU's printing because they use WCU for printing a lot of things, so keeping track of what she has sent to them, and then her done column. So she really customized it to her urgent projects and things she needs printing. She doesn't have her color legend, but I'm sure her colors all mean something. The red's probably more urgent, or top priority for her. And then this is Tyler Goods. So his is a little bit more complex, but yeah, it says to do today, to do major projects, in progress, waiting, and done. I know y'all have a probably hard time seeing it in the back. He has 24 out of 10 to do today, so put a red mark like, hey, you're over your capacity you said you want to be at. So it does flag you like, hey, you need to like limit your workload a little bit. And then also, like, he does have it shared with his team. So this is what he said about Kanban and the whole PR team using it. I'm truly grateful you introduced our PR team to Kanban. I used to print out 6-sheet to-do list every day and lug it around writing in new projects throughout the day and never feeling like I accomplished much at all. In less than 30 minutes, one afternoon, I transitioned all that to Kanban. Now that our entire department uses it, I feel that our team has never been more efficient. So all of them have a Kanban. They've all shared it with each other. Doesn't mean that Tyler's adding things to Megan's unless they've already talked about it. But they also have a team one that they put all the top priorities for the week on every week. So it's kind of like meeting without having a formal meeting. So the whole PR team is using it now, which is really exciting. I think that's really cool how they're all using it. So now the fun part of Kanban Flow 101. Are there any questions before we start diving into it?
Do people sometimes have more than one board, like a personal, professional, or maybe even one for hobbies?
Absolutely, you can have as many boards as you want.
So
I think with the free, it's not all on one. I can show you mine. I think with the free software, it might be a limit of 4 boards max. But if you were to buy the premium, it's $5 a month, so it's not too overly expensive. You can have as many as you like. But it depends on you and how you operate, I would say. If you want all on one, if you want the separate boards. I have separate boards, but I also have a very complex all-in-one board, which I will show you all that.
Does it send you like email alerts and stuff or notifications?
It does, so.
Well, Jim, let me ask a quick question.
Yes, ma'am.
What's the difference what is the difference in this software and then just plugging it into your calendar?
So I know that there's a lot of overlap. So like with Task, you have to select that calendar within the Google Calendar feature. And you can input things. I personally just like the way this is presented more than in Google personally, because my calendars are very in-depth. I mean, things are color-coded. I have things blocked out for presentations or meetings or appointments. So to me, it's just too overwhelming to have it all on my Google Calendar.
So how do you manage them? Because I'm thinking, looking around the room in terms of like people are teachers, they have other things to do, staff. So in your day, you always have student appointments, you have class schedules, and so you have things scheduled already. So if I have that in my calendar, and then maybe I'm just playing devil's advocate now, but then I have my Kanban schedule. I still have to fit those things I'm going to do today into my calendar because I already have other things that I'm doing.
Right.
Students pop in.
Students pop
in. How are you managing this calendar with your work calendar that actually where you designate how you're spending your time?
Right, so Kanban's not technically a calendar. I call it more of a checklist, or it's your board. So my calendar has my appointments in it. But my Kanban, I put a deadline to follow up with the student in 2 weeks or a month, and all the things that you follow up with them on. I don't put that follow up with the student on my calendar.
So the things that in your Kanban you do today, those will also appear on your work calendar. Is that true to show where you're spending your time or how much time projects are taking?
So with the free Kanban, you can't integrate with your calendar, but I use Kanban to really do project management. Like the peak document uploads, I have like 4 things to do on the to-do column right now about all the fall uploads and follow-up emails and things. But my calendar is more of like student appointments or where I need to be throughout my day. But those free blocks, I go to my Kanban to be like, what do I need to work on today? Does that make more sense? I know it might make more sense when you see mine. So this is my Kanban. I'm one of those people, I like it all in one. So it's a little crazy, but it makes sense to my brain. That is better, thank you. So there's my to-do. I have these columns, I have them collapsed, like career goals or projects I want to work on this year, professional development goals, I like to keep them on here. Student follow-up emails, so anytime I meet with the student, I put the notes into the Kanban, their email, the date we met, so that when that deadline comes up, I can just, here's my Kanban open on this web browser, here's the email, and I can just write that email really quickly. Social media, I've really tried to kick up our social media presence, so whenever I made our overall social media calendar, I made a column with the deadlines, and I set them for the day before that post needs to go out. I will show you that. Yes, you can add as many columns as you want and keep them collapsed, or you can keep them expanded. So my this week is always expanded. My to-do today is always expanded. In progress, so I have my limit set to 5, but we're in the middle of like vamping up for the spring. Me and Megan are still redesigning the website a little bit, just being a little nitpicky, and then this is one of our technology things I'm trying to work on. And then the done column. Some people collapse the done column. I like to keep it up because it makes me feel good seeing how productive I'm being. So you're able to add columns, expand them, collapse them. You can do as much as you'd like. You can quickly add a task. So whenever you do have a task, you could just be, example, I'll show you how, but you can name the colors. So you can use as many or as few colors as you'd like. So say it's a job posting. If you have invited someone to collaborate on your board, you can assign it to a member, or this one's only for me, so it's only to me. You can put a description of the project or what you need to do, so that's where I input the notes from my appointments so that I can pull them up really quickly. And then you can save and add another task. You can save and open details, or you can save and close. So if you save and open details, you can add subtask. So those little check marks, like the multiple check boxes and checklists, subtask is that friend for you. You can also add a timer, so you can actually time yourself on a task. You can also put a time estimate on a task. So whenever I did the summer uploads for Peak, I was like, I think it's going to take me around an hour and a half to do all this. And then I used the timer feature to see how long it actually took me. So I know Megan Jameson has been using the timer feature a lot because it helps her really, you know, the hardest part's getting started. So if she puts a time estimate on how long she thinks it'll take, it helps her tackle it really quickly in between a certain amount of time in her day. So the time estimate feature is very helpful as well. So I added it, so that's onto this week. I can move it. If things come up, I can move it back. So not set in stone. The multiple boards I have my work to do, I have the work study to do, so that one looks a little bit more simple and different, so with our work study students. The colors mean different things, so it means more of the offices. And then I have the info bar where who the contact person is for admissions or career services or testing, so that they remember who they can talk to about a certain project. Even if they don't use this a lot, I do, so I know what they can work on. And then the big ideas, that's any idea Mike has, I put on the big ideas board, because he's never short of ideas, so I have a career services big ideas board of things that one day we may want to work on. And then the career services website, me and Megan Jameson collaborate with it. And the cool thing when someone is invited on your board, you can have comments on certain things. So me and her were tackling this page last week, and we were just chatting back and forth. And anytime she had a comment, I got an email. So I'm always in my email. So I would see a notification about Megan made a comment, and then I would go check it out. And you can write them back. So when you get started, let's just create a board. When you set up your account, you can name your board, work to do. These are the columns that automatically is going to give you: to do, due today, in progress, and done. But you can add the columns, so students or supervisees. And then you can hit next. Where do you put your finished tasks? So most likely the done column, or you could say not on this board. You could have a done board if you wanted. And you can order. So the to do, like I want to be able to only do 5 tasks a day. Or in progress, I want to limit it to 6. So you can set limits on the work in progress so that you don't get overwhelmed or don't bite off more than what you can chew in one day. So that's very helpful. And then you can invite the users, or you can keep it private. I mean, it's really your board. And then you create it. So say I want to play with the colors. So it will say which board you're on up here. So like my work to do or work study. So you can always go in and edit it later. But you can move up columns. So say I want the in progress to be ahead of the due today. Or I want to edit it and I want to increase my limit of work in progress. You're able to select the colors. So there are some disabled colors. There's all of these colors. But if you want to name them, you can just hit edit, and then green is for project. You could even describe the color if you forget why you named it that. But you can even name the colors, which I found very helpful when I found that feature. And you can disable it, or you can enable it. So you can have as many or as few colors as you want. And then you can also set a default color. So mine's the yellow, and that stands for task. So you can select your default color as well. When you add a new task, it automatically is going to choose that color. But you can always choose the correct color later. And then task settings. This is helpful with like the due date time. So 1700 is the due date time. I want new tasks to be at the bottom of the column. So all of those good things. You are able to do reports. So I'm actually going to go over here. With the free version of Kanban, it doesn't give you too big of a report, in all honesty. But I mean, if you did, you can select a month. You can see like when to actually use the timer. You can look at flow points. I don't honestly know what flow points mean. But you can also look at interruptions. I think that interruptions is very helpful. Let's see, I'm going to go back to like August. So you can see like a colleague interrupted me 36% of the time, which is probably the biggest one, but that's okay. You know, most of the time they're coming in with a question or things like that. Some of them, like I added stopping point for today. When I've hit a stopping point with like the peak uploads, I'm stopping for today, I'm done. So web browsing, you know, if I had to like look up something or a phone call. So you're able to actually like say what interrupted you. And then you're able to turn the color legend on and off. I like it on, but it's your Kanban. And the filter is really cool because you can see what colors of things. So say I just want to look at the job fair, all the things regarding the job fair, that will pop up. Or peak is, I probably have the most for peak right now. So all the things I need to do for peak. So that's pretty cool. You can do labels. I've not played with labels, but you might see the use in the labels. So yeah, that's a little bit of kind of an overview. Any questions before y'all dive in and start yours? Yes.
I think my daughter uses this. She's talked about it, but I wasn't paying attention. She's a project manager for a large theater complex in Phoenix, Arizona, and
Yeah.
she has teams doing things, and they can check on and off when they've completed the task, instead of everybody running around with their own to-do list. They
Right.
combine it all on this.
Right.
So ultimately, in our departments, you're saying that we could do the same kind of thing.
Absolutely. I mean, the PR department, they've shared their boards with each other, and they have a team board where they all contribute to it. But like me and Megan, whenever we've done our website redesign projects, like when it's something graphical, I'm not doing that, she's doing that, so I'll assign that task to her. So yeah, the point is that all team members can contribute or know their part or help those lines of communications be a little smoother. Because for me, I mean, going back and forth in email all day, every day, it can get a little tedious. So this is a quick way for them to know, like, this has been assigned to you, or so-and-so comment on this. So it's really quick, and you get an email, but you can just go check into your Kanban as well. So
If you do this, then are you not doing the advertising graphic design work order?
no, I still do it. Yeah, I still do it, but I'll put in my Kanban as a task, like submit work order to get the technology cards printed. But whenever I'm collaborating with Megan on the website project, because this is what I want, but she has the capability of doing it, she knows what I want when she gets to it. She knows what to do.
Maybe you just don't put all that detail in the work order, you use this
I mean,
instead.
well, I mean, it was,
Instead, I mean, you still want to submit the work order, but
Yeah.
at the bottom of the work order, like,
yeah, and I mean, I think, me and Megan just did that because we were completely revamping the website, and she was starting to use Kanban, so we were just testing it out, really, for both of us to see what the utilization is. But I submit work orders because she'll add that into her Kanban as a task. So she still wants people to do work orders, so don't invite her to be a user on a board, because she'll kill me, probably. But I think it does help with, like, overall team management and collaboration and communication. So all of student support services could have a board if you found the need for having a team board, or all of enrollment services, or all of educational ops. I mean, there's so many different ways you can really use it. But it really is meant for team usage, is how it originated. But even as an individual, like, it can just help you stay zened in the brain a little bit more. So, any other questions? All right, well, I basically kept this short so that y'all could actually start using it and create your accounts. It's just kanbanflow.com, and you can create your account. I recommend using your work email so that the email notifications go to your work email, and I like to keep work and personal life a little separate. So that's what I would recommend. But yeah, you can start playing with Kanban. I'm here if you have questions and need help figuring out a setting or a feature.